I should have never bought ink from the dark web. But I was trying to make more money. And now I have to live with something watching me forever. I used to own a small tattoo shop and sales were going down. I still had a few reliable customers and new faces would come in, but more and more people started going to the shop down the street. Inflating prices would drive customers away. That's when I decided to go on the dark web. The page claimed it was the darkest tattoo ink ever made, darker than anything else online or in stores. The kind of deep black that seemed to fall into nothingness. I thought the reviews were a joke. Some kind of gothic humor I didn't understand. Darkness that stays with you forever. One wrote, "It won't let me sleep." On another, I didn't put much thought in it. The ink was cheap, so I was going to buy it. The page looked legitimate. The logo Evil Ink branded the top banner and they featured a series of tattoo-related products burnt black. The description was strange. The darkest black in every realm. Below that was another line. Not for mortal use. Cool marketing, I laughed. I thought it was all just to make their products look cool. I happily ordered a big bottle for the store, completely unaware of the mistake I was making. Looking back, it seems so obvious. I ignored all the warning signs. I didn't pay for express shipping. I don't even remember seeing a confirmation email. And yet the package was on my doorstep the next morning. No return address, no shipping label. Just a small, heavy box perfectly center right outside my door. It looked like a normal package, but inside was the ink in a strange metal box. The box was made from iron and cold enough to leave my fingertips numb. Tucked beside the box was a note. It looked like a warning. It simply read, "Caution. The more you use, the more it gains." I threw the note away without giving it any thought and took it to the shop the very next day. One of my best clients came in that afternoon, Ryan. He had been coming to me for years faithfully. He wanted his whole back tattooed. More needlework than most people can handle. The burnt black ink looked fascinating on his skin. But while I was tattooing him, it just looked wrong somehow. The ink didn't reflect light whatsoever. Staring deeply into the thick lines, it felt as if you were gazing into an abyss. I couldn't believe how incredible my work looked. Too incredible. After a few clients, I finally made it home to sleep. I was at the shop the next afternoon when Ryan called me. "Dude, I think somebody was watching me," I laughed. "What?" "There was a little kid outside my window for like an hour last night. Probably some weirdo neighborhood kid that doesn't have internet." He laughed lightly. "Freaky kid, man. He was perfectly still." We both sort of brushed it off and started talking about how his tattoo was healing really well and forgot about it. Or at least I did. Over the next few days, I used the burnt black ink on everything. Everyone loved it. Neck pieces, chest tattoos, full sleeves and half sleeves. Everybody wanted it. I was able to charge more for every design and my costs were actually down. The ink set well and healed fast on everyone's skin. I thought it was high quality. The stained bottle seemed endless. There was no telling how much I used. Even after dozens of tattoos, there always seemed to be more. And the people wanted more. My client base was exploding over the next week. I even stole a few people from the shop down the street. Things couldn't have been working out better. My phone was filled with calls and texts. I was setting up appointments when I noticed I had a number of missed messages from Ryan going back a few days. He hadn't called or stopped in, so I thought it couldn't have been anything important. I was busy. I ignored him. That same evening, my girlfriend Lexi stopped by my store just before closing and noticed the burnt black ink. She wanted a piece covering her entire forearm. It was getting late, and I was exhausted, but she was always very convincing. I closed up shop before I began her tattoo. Only took about an hour, but before we left, she convinced me to let her tattoo a small XO on my wrist. I was tired and a tattoo didn't exactly sound enticing, but it really was hard to tell her no, and it only took a moment. Just 3 droplets of ink placed right below my wrist was all it took. The moment of my biggest regret. That next morning, everything changed. I was so tired from the night before my phone going off all night didn't stand a chance to wake me. The text messages she sent me weren't making any sense. Her voicemails were hysterical. I never heard Lexi cry like that. She was one of the most rational people I'd ever met. Just then, my phone started ringing, and it was her again. You could tell she sounded terrified. She said there was someone outside her window all night, perfectly still, staring at her. She called the police, but there was no one there when they showed up and when they left. It came back, watching, but this time through her living room window. Never moving, always smiling. While we were talking about it, I remembered Ryan. After consoling Lexi for a half hour before she went to work, I nervously opened his messages. I scrolled up to the first missed chat. Dude, that same kid came back, but now she screams. I looked down at the tiny XO on my wrist in terror, finally realizing the connection. His next message left me in complete shock. I got a good look at her last night. This can't be a kid. Her face is stretched back. She's always smiling, but the worst part is her eyes are bright orange and her pupils are rectangular. Reading this had me frozen, horrified. All those people. I must have tattooed 30-something people and myself. The next message he sent me built a terrible dread in my stomach. The tattoo, it's growing. And now she never leaves me alone, always screaming, always staring. You need to call me. I felt awful reading his last message. I ignored him this whole time. She attacked me while I was sleeping. I woke up from a dream of being bit hard. My forearm was bleeding bad and she was in the hallway, just staring. The police didn't believe me. They want to have me committed, and that was it. No one ever heard from Ryan again. He just disappeared. There was no evidence of foul play, and after the incident at his home, the police didn't even bother looking for him. They figured he was a mental case on the run. I knew better, though. She took him, and he wouldn't be the last. Over the next week, the real nightmare started. Lexi kept seeing the girl, and it wouldn't just stare. It would whisper to her. Soon, after scratching her window or tapping the glass, I knew when it was going to get worse after she told me it started screaming. Every night she woke up to it, but now it would be inside her house, jaw wide open, with a bright orange glow from its rectangular eyes emanating like candles in her room. The little girl would get closer every night, her tattoo growing in unison, a little louder, a little closer, a little bigger, until Lexi snapped. She couldn't take it, and I couldn't help her. No one could. She was in an asylum before I sold my shop, but not before I started seeing the girl too. I could barely see her in the crowd when she first appeared, but I knew what she was. When I went back online, the deep web page had been taken down. After hours of searching, I found a message board with some answers. According to one thread, the burnt black ink I was using wasn't ink at all. It was ashes. In the next thread, I read posts claiming there was no way to get rid of her. The ink didn't just embed in your skin, it encompassed your soul. I was mortified. She started appearing everywhere, smiling, waiting, watching. Those first couple months, it was always from a distance. She's a lot closer now, right outside the window sometimes. The worst part is it's not just the little girl anymore. Sometimes it's Lexi or one of my clients with the same pulled-back face, smile, and unreal eyes as the creature that haunted us. But it won't be much longer now. The last few nights, Ryan's been tapping at my window, and he whispers to me, "Soon, old friend, soon."